Hello there folks, guess where we are? We're at Krazy Horse over in Bury St Edmunds, and they have very kindly loaned me this. The 2020 MV Agusta Brutale 1000RR Anniversary Edition. Ho, ho, ho. Let's go hit the road.
I've been a real bad boy on the town all night. Starting to calm down with a morning light. I'm down in the dirt.
Right, I think we're actually going to get on the road. Wow, there's some amount of faff involved here folks. God, I've been here about an hour getting the beauty shots, setting up all the camera locations. It's quite tricky on this one, not a lot of room on the bars, so I've managed to get the Ultimate Add-ons phone holder on there so I can use the Kalimoto app. Use the whole load of different RAM mounts, the suction cup, obviously with the extender arm, the ball joint for the session. Got the 360 if it works, with a clamp on the chassis. That 360 has been a massive pain in the arse. Alright, wow, so here we go folks. The MV Agusta Anniversary 75 year anniversary Brutale 1000RR. What a machine this is. So you switch it on, goes through a little check as you'd imagine. And I'll go through all the different that this machine has. As you can see, the forward lifting control, basically anti-wheelie, tells you what engine mode you're in. You have rain, sport, track and custom, or rain, sport, race and custom, and then you have traction control and the anti-wheelie, forward lifting control and traction control. There are 9 stages. 9. Okay, so we have a cold engine. We're just going to take it easy to begin with, just to get to know this thing. I'm in sport, which is your sort of generic. Now, seating position straight away, it's not bad, you know. That's Krazy Horse there. All shut up sadly at the moment, but I've been in there once before, and it's a great dealership with a lovely calf. Seating position straight away, it feels very narrow at the seat, but not uncomfortable at all. Actually looks quite a padded seat, this. The brakes feel lovely. It's weird that it doesn't feel much grunt low down compared to, yes, the GS. Or certainly the Duke, Super Duke R that I was on. Let me give you some figures. Just short of 27 grand, this, 26.7 I think it is. Now that is for the standard model, this one, but it comes with full Öhlins, front and rear. The engine, stock 208 brake horsepower. Yes, 208 brake horsepower. Torque, can't remember, put it up on the screen now. It weighs 186 kilograms, top speed, limited, 186 miles an hour. You're not thrown right over the front, but it is a sporty position. It's nice. Foot pegs on this, fully adjustable, as stock. Handles beautifully. Very confidence inspiring, this. Oh, those brakes are lovely. And down into a 30. So far, beautiful. Very, very nice ride. You look at this, it looks a very muscular, sports orientated work of art. It really does. I was not expecting a plush ride. I thought it would be quite brutal, to be honest. But the suspension on this is beautiful, soaking up all these bumps, no problem. And in the turns, just in that first little bit that we've done there, it feels, I don't know, secure, safe, reassuring. I'm liking this. Could do with a bit more grunt low down though. I'm sure it's just a setting. Right, what gear am I in? 5th, bugger off. No way I'm in 5th. I am, you know. Blimey, I was in 5th gear. These mirrors, really good actually. On the right one, I get no blockage from me at all, which with my ample proportions, my fat ass, that's some good going. Same with the left hand side actually, really good vision, no vibration on them either. Very impressed so far. Smooth engine, it's got a lovely note to it. I don't know how you change this mode. Okay, now I'm in race mode. I'll tell you what, when you sit stationary, it gets warm under the seat. Whew. So there's no difference straight away. You know, sometimes you change engine modes and it changes the engine note almost, but not on this one. Seems the same. Let's get out onto the nationals. Here we go, nationals. Still not loads of power low down, you know. But you know what? I'm in blooming 5th gear. That's crazy. Ah, there we go. That's better. Do you know what I think that was, folks? I was in the wrong blooming gear. This thing is so well behaved, it cruises along in 5th gear, no problem. But I'm in 5th thinking I'm in 3rd, maybe 4th. And then you hit the gas and obviously there's no real sense of urgency. That'll be why. It's weird for a big old sort of 1000cc sports orientated engine. This is me in 4th and it's jerking around as if I'd be in 2nd. So you park it in 5th and it feels absolutely fine. As soon as you hit the nationals, you're going to have to knock it down a couple of kegs to get the oomph. Down to 3rd. There's still sort of nothing below 6,000 revs. It doesn't really do too much. The engine note's beautiful, it's lovely. Lipper's nice as well. It's not silky smooth like butter, it's mechanical, but it's reassuringly mechanical. It lets you know that you've changed gear. This is pretty bumpy roads, this. Suspension seems to be soaking it up lovely. Below 6,000. You almost dismiss it from sort of 7, 8 upwards. There's the animal. Now it's coming alive. But you are going to have to, certainly in race mode, you're going to have to be a good rider to sustain those high revs on these backcountry twisty roads. However, if you are trundling along, you're possibly going to be the best looking bike out there. Nationals! Jesus Christ! I'm just going to stop and restart the 360 because it's just a pain in the arse. I've updated the firmware, I restored it back to factory defaults, again checked the firmware, reformatted the SD card. It's a proper OEM Insta360 battery that's fully charged, that's in it. Just nothing but problems. Right, I'm going to turn this off for just now because I'm going to have a little bit of fun. Sorry, I mean, I'm going to have some real world testing of the motorcycle and I will be back with you shortly. Actually, whilst I'm sat here, I'm going to show you some of the stuff you can do on this. So there's your standard dash there, gives you time. You've got outside temperature, your mileage, tripometer. You've got a fuel gauge here, which is lovely. It was fully fueled when I picked it up. Roughly, should get an idea as to how many miles we'll get to a tank. I'm doing about 120 miles today. You have your rev gauge there, and then it's a digital speedo. All these things can be changed within the menu, the sub menu in here. It also shows you in the middle your current engine mode. So as I said, you have rain, you have sport, you have race, and you have custom. To the left of that, FLC, forward lifting control, which is basically anti-wheelie, and that goes from 0, where fill your boots, 1 through to 9, with 9 being the front is welded to the ground. Although I've got to say, with this being in 1, at no point until I've got above sort of 8,000 revs have I felt this was going to lift the front. Now maybe I've just been spoilt with a big old thumping Super Duke R engine and things like that, but from low down, if you give it a fistful, they just lift the front. This has never felt like that, although I've been very delicate with it so far. Over on the right, TC, traction control, again 0 is completely off, 9 is fully on. We've got that set to 3. Now, over here on the left hand, there's the indicators. Just above it is this selection button. If you push and hold, you get here into this dashboard. In your race mode, you can enable the race dashboard. You can do lap control, various different settings for when you're on the track. You can change your units, so speed you can change from mile per hour to kilometers. You can change the temperature and the pressure units. The service, again, that tells you next service is due at 3,700 miles. Suspension, you can totally configure the suspension on this from the dash. I am not going to be mucking about with this. You can also configure the steering damper. Come out, exit. Boom, that is us. Let's hit the road. Right, I think what I'm going to do, folks, well, for about the last half hour I've been on the backcountry twisty roads, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Kali Moto app and I'm going to change it to put me on more sort of main major A roads and see how we get on there. And it's simply done. All you do is you hit pause, you go to planner, and then these bits here, so you've got all the different twists that you want to be taking. So I'm just going to change them to the second straightest option. Hit map and it will automatically recalculate everything. Hit resume and that's it. Now we just need to wait for this train to go by. Get those revs up. This thing's like a scalpel. Certainly on big A roads like this. On some of those back B roads there, this was getting a little bit bumpy, to be honest. It's speed anyway. One thing I did notice, quick shifter, you can't quick shift from first to second. It just does like a well, not a false neutral, it just goes into neutral. A lot of new bikes now, you can quick shift first to second gear. This one you can't, so just keep that in mind. Quick shifter is lovely. Yeah, there. Around about 7,000 to 8,000 revs, that's where there's a power band kicking in. Yeah, that's quite bumpy in speed. It's weird, you just knock the speed down a little, mind you. I've just looked at the speedo, I was going fairly rapid there, but nothing severe. You just knock sort of 10-15 mile off. It's actually a much smoother ride. It's like the suspension can cope with that. That can't be right because it's all in suspension, so you know it's plush stuff. You'd have to fiddle with the settings to get the suspension right for these roads. This bike comes alive at speed on these bigger roads with the revs higher up. The bike comes alive. It really was almost anticlimactic below sort of 7,000 revs. Just didn't feel anything in particular, to be honest. Looks absolutely amazing, but below 7,000 I was just thinking, oh, it's not really that much fun for the road. You're gonna have to be a hooligan, folks. You're gonna have to get the revs up, get the speed up. Wow. Don't get me wrong, you know, road legal speeds, backcountry lanes, if you keep the speed up, this thing, it handles beautifully, the suspension's fantastic, it turns surgically. It's a really, really nice handling bike, but there's not much poke in the engine, low down, but the fun happens upwards of 7,000-8,000 revs. A little bit like the old Gixxers, to be honest. My old Gixxer was the same. That inline 4 engine. Get to the power band, hear that scream, and oh my god, the fun starts. I knew a lady like that once. Look at these beautiful places. You know, we've got some pretty substantial history there too. God, I'm going to sound like bloody Time Team here. Call me the Tony Robinson of motorbikes. Jeez. Let's get back on the road. Wow. Yeah, there's no point in you taking this bike out if you're one of those type of people who never break the speed limit. This is not the bike for you. It's just not. You've got to be naughty to get the most out of this bike, because it really doesn't feel anything out of the ordinary until you get those revs up, and then, oh my god. So unless you're going to go everywhere in first and second gear, you're going to have to stretch its legs a wee bit to have some fun. Well folks, the 2020 MV Agusta Brutale 1000 RR. Bit of a mouthful, and I tell you, it's a bit of a handful. It is much more placid, low down for normal road riding than I thought it was going to be honest. I think I've been a bit spoilt with the grunt and the power that's available in a lot of the road bikes these days. Literally from pull off. Woohoo! This is much more like a sports bike. Literally nothing happens. In fact, it's absolutely nothing to write home about below 7,000-8,000 revs. You hit 7,000-8,000 revs, this thing comes alive. Kiss goodbye to your license. Just kiss goodbye to your license. This thing, you can feel it wanting to lift the front at practically triple digit speeds. It just comes alive. Absolutely comes alive in the high revs. It's a bit of a handful, I've got to say that. Maybe it just needs to be set up for me. I have been on some very bumpy fen roads all around here, but it is still a bit of a handful. At lower speeds on the backcountry lanes when I first went out, it does feel like it corners with precision, but you get that speed up on the bumpy roads and yeah, it's a handful, but it is a lot of fun. Brutale by name, Brutale by nature. I have never felt discomfort like that on a bike for a long time. The first hour or so was fine, no problem at all, but then after about an hour, hour and 10 minutes or so, my arse was killing me. My wrists started to get really sore. I don't know if it's just because I was on the really bumpy roads. Maybe I was hanging on too much. You know, I was gripping the bars too tight. But yeah, it wasn't a particularly pleasant place to be for the last half hour, certainly. Fueling wise, it's around about 100 miles to the tank, I'd suggest. Anywhere between sort of 90, maybe 100, 110 miles you might get to the tank. I wasn't going particularly quick, yet I was 84 miles or something, maybe mid 80s before the fuel light came on, and it took nearly 14 litres of fuel. So yeah, probably Tuono-esque in terms of fuel consumption. It's not got the Tuono low-down grunt, it's not got the Tuono engine note, if that's what you like. However, it's got looks. I mean, what a stunningly beautiful bike that is. The finish looks amazing. I'm well impressed with it, really am. I was kind of expecting it to be sort of, dare I say it, substandard. I've got no experience of MV Agusta bikes, but that to me looks really well put together. Full Öhlins system on it, fully adjustable foot pegs. It's got all the bells and whistles, Brembo front brakes, Brembo master cylinder, it's got a quick shifter, it's got the blipper, full interchangeable modes, 9-level adjustable anti-wheelie front lift control and traction control. It's quite a package. It's got cruise control, the stock mirrors, really good, but at high speed I did notice them start to push in a little bit. It's got a pillion seat, but I don't know if I'd want to be pillion on that thing. You're kind of perched right up in the gods there. Something to point out here, folks, the wings. See these wings here? Apparently they give something like 30 kilograms of downward force. Now, Agusta couldn't tell me the speed because I believe the speed is non-legal. So when you'll get full use of these wings, it's a bit like the Ducati V4 Street Fighter. At road legal speeds, it means nothing. If you're on track, or perhaps being a total hooligan, then that's when this downward force kicks in. And allegedly on this thing, you do need it. And I can see how, because kicking on at speeds on the road, she started to get a little bit flighty. All in, folks, I'm quite impressed. I've cracked my MV Agusta Cherry. A massive thank you to Krazy Horse and Bury St Edmunds for the loan of this bike, and I'm hoping we're going to be able to start doing quite a bit more, including possibly some Indians. So watch this space. All in, folks, I would certainly suggest you try one. If you're more like an inline 4 sports bike fanatic, you may well prefer this. But for me, in terms of a street naked, it's going to have to be the Super Ducar or the Tuono out of the ones I have tried. I've not tried an MT10 as yet, but I kind of think Tuono and the Ducar are the king of the hills. This, not quite there, but I think it gets it in looks. If you have not yet smashed that subscribe button, make sure you ding dong the bell down below. And if you are a long-standing subscriber, thank you very much for all your support. If you're one of those lovely people over in the clan, thank you very much. We have got a clan meetup coming soon, so if you want to be part of that, head on over patreon.com/TeapotOne. Okay then, folks, you know the score. Get on out there, look after those that you love, but most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha!